Everybody, welcome back to another live stream with me, Jennifer Kirk, and
me, Les Cliff.
Oh my word, this is embarrassing.
I know.
Oh, we've both turned up wearing the same outfit. Although those of you in the know who have been watching the new trailer that's been broadcast on Channel 5, so us talking about that doesn't really
infringe on anything.
No,
does
it doesn't breach any NDAs because it's now in public domain. So yes. This is it, breaking cover in public. Yes. We've got our Great Model Railway Challenge Team Rail Riders t-shirts with we even had our names put on it. Oh yeah, and it says I'm a lonely team member and you're team captain.
Team captain. But you can tell the difference between them because you've got boobs and I've got a beard.
Yes, I can imagine, although it might be tough in... Yes, there was that time we got confused, but only due to very poor disco lighting.
That's true.
But who have we got in the chat room? We've got Ned's Trains, hi to you.
Hi,
Otis
Ned.
JB.
Hi up.
Zach Tech Tips. Oh, hi. He says, hi, Auntie Jenny. That's Zach. Hi to you. Good to have you in.
Hi, Zach.
How are your live streams going, Zach? Because Grandad, a.k.a. my dad, says that you've been doing some computer-related stuff. Just wondering how that's going. Viaduct Central Model Railway. Oh, are you being silly there, Zoe? I thought you might be getting the rubber. Yes, the rubber Kenny Everett and ow! Oh, okay. You got snot all over your hand now. Viaduct Central Model Railway. Hi to you, Charles Curtis. Hi to you, New Mills Model Railway. Evening. Looking forward to Great Model Railway Challenge. Yeah, we are.
So are we. Yes.
Robert Cooney. Hi to you. Tony Britton. Hi to you. Goulburn South Station. Hi to you. Canadian Rail Fan, hi there. Yes, the trailer is out. I've seen a short form, but there is a long form.
I think the short form's just the one on the YouTube and the internet.
Yeah, like social media on the Book of Face, and I like
the slightly longer one on the TV.
There is, and actually, if you want to see the slightly longer one, if you head on over to Metcalf Models. Yeah. I think they've probably been sent the full version by Channel 5.
They're part of the sponsorship, weren't they?
They are actually. Metcalf Models was one of the sponsors, so they've got the full length trailer as shown on the TV. So that's a top tip for you.
And there's quite a bit of hours that shows up in it.
Actually, yeah, I was actually quite impressed, given when you think there's like 15 teams in the heat rounds. And ours showed up disproportionately a lot.
I think we had there's at least 4 clips.
There's Steve Flint looking underneath the viaduct.
There's the exploding boat.
Yeah.
There's a bit with you.
There's a bit with me faffing, trying to put the Bosch Buster on the track.
And then there's a corner clip of the trees that we did.
Yeah, and there's also when the camera train came round past the signal box, and you see Tim and James
and everybody looking in, and you see the station with all the smoke and everything behind.
Oh yes,
the main sort of feature
there. So actually, we got a good look in.
And I think I'm not certain, but there's a bit where it shows everybody's panicking and doing things.
Oh,
there's a little bloke cutting the piece of wood. I think that was our back seat. Was it not ours?
No.
Oh, right.
That, as far as I'm aware, that's not us. But it did show Simon going. And can you remember what was that about? Can you remember which particular?
I'd rather not say. I don't know.
I don't know. There was quite a few little nail-biting moments because you're always down to the wires.
Yeah.
But yeah, loads of people in. It's scrolling through ever so quick. That's interesting. Andrew Keeley, Rail Riders are a minor league baseball team in Scranton, PA. Is that Pennsylvania, USA? In the UK, actually, Rail Riders was a club that British Rail had for younger children to encourage them to kind of take an interest in the railways in the 1980s. I don't know if it went back before the 1980s, but I do remember, I actually remember friends of mine being in the Rail Riders Club. But that's actually where the logo comes from.
Yes.
So
Jenny's got bigger bosoms. But there's mine.
They're the same size on both t-shirts. What is this fascination with boobs? I was at Viaduct Central Model Railway. I'm only 12 and I tried to get into the GMRC but sadly got rejected. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. I do know...
There were some younger ones there, but they had to have an adult with them. But I don't think they were 12.
There were some who were under 16 and they had to have like a guardian with them.
But don't let that put you off if you want to apply next year.
But just bear in mind that there was over, I think, in excess of 600 modelers actually applied to be on the show. So it was quite tough to get through. I mean, we didn't know that at the time.
We didn't know. It's the only things that have come through later.
Yeah, we were told afterwards that there were hundreds of modelers applied to be on this year. So, I feel quite honoured that we got picked. We didn't realise it at the time. We're like, oh, should we do this? Yeah, go on then. But actually, we did quite well to get through. Zach Tech Tips, what's the new show called? It's just called the Great Model Railway Challenge. It starts this Friday at 8 p.m. And that's, are we still on British summertime? Or have I slept in?
No, I think it's still British summertime.
Which is GMT +1. So you'll have to work that out, whatever time zone you're in. So it's 8 o'clock BST, which is 7 o'clock GMT. And
but it might change because we go into winter time, don't we? During the 8 weeks that it's on.
Yeah, so be aware of that. We call this daylight saving rubbish. But yeah, that's how it goes. Oh, was that Ron Stanbridge? My son Matt is wiping his head on the trailer. Do they know?
Why is he wiping his head on it?
I recognise quite a few faces from that because you've got to remember that they invited everybody who was in the heats got invited to the final. Now, not everybody who was invited to the final could make it, but there were a lot of the teams that were there in the audience, which is how we got to meet a lot of people who weren't necessarily in our heat. But yeah, so there's I know from looking online. There's another team which is featured quite prominently in all the promotion stuff. They're the ones in the white lab coats. We never actually met them.
They must have been in one of the heats before or
after.
I
believe that they're in the first episode that's coming up this Friday. So what's this? Brockwell Lane, are you doing a live stream after or before your episode? Yeah, our episode is going out on the 20th.
Which will be the Friday again.
Yeah, again on the Friday at 8 o'clock UK time. We're not sure whether the hour goes back or
so. We'll be able to talk certainly on the Monday afterwards.
Yes.
Because we can talk about anything that's been shown like we can do now. We can talk about certain aspects that are in the trailer, as it were, but there are still some details that we can't...
See, I know that the actual theme for... Episode 1, which is Heat 1, Restless Earth, has been announced because that was in the Railway Times.
Yeah.
But I don't know whether they've announced the Heat titles for the other episodes because each Heat had a different theme.
Yeah.
So and they're quite vague actually, deliberately
vague, and deliberately challenging.
Yeah,
you know.
And the idea was there was lots of these little hints in the rules, so it kind of hinted what they were after. Things like animations. They were big on animations, things that moved and did things. So you kind of looked at it and thought, well, you know, if we just make a normal conventional model railway, then we're not going to do very well. So we had to kind of really up our game, which we did. I think we did. But all the other teams did as well.
Everybody was much not taking anything away from those that did exceptionally well in the first series and those that won Aberdeen. Theirs was a fantastic set of layouts all the way through, as were some of the others. But everything has gone up quite a big step. And if there's a third series, I think it'll go up even higher. The only problem is not getting it to go up too high that it puts people off applying.
Yeah, definitely. We've got Warrington Train Spotter 2778. Good evening to you. Good job you're in, actually. I made him a moderator last week to deal with the trolls. I was interested to see. I didn't know whether the moderation status would actually persist, but it turns out it does. Z. Mark Anthony, Simon A.C. Martin, who is AKA the author of the Great British Railway Stories. He is on our team, and you do see him in the trailer.
Happy birthday as well, Simon, today.
Yeah.
If you're listening or watching later on.
Yeah. Mark Wilson, did they put you up for the night? Expenses paid? Yes, and yes, because it's a long way to commute to Fawley Hill. Otherwise,
15 miles. Although the TV company somehow managed to make it seem less in mileage than we actually drove.
Yeah, but they were generous enough with
They
the
were,
mileage
they
rate
were,
that you
yes.
came out of it really well.
I did
but
all right, yes.
those of us who had to drive a fuel-thirsty van didn't come out quite so well because we used more in the way of fuel. But I clocked the distance. The full round trip for me for the filming week was about 565 miles.
Right, I think mine...
But I had to go via Leeds,
You
did
did,
it? Because
yeah.
Melanie Lewis, who I believe is our guest here on the Monday Club Live next week, so we can talk about episode 1 then. And Melanie was on our team.
Because there's a lot of stuff in our heat that Melanie prepared and did and really brought it to life.
She was pretty much our electronics
Yes.
guru. Very good at scratch building, in fact, exceptionally good at scratch building and the electricery side of things. So she was a big driving force behind our Heat 2 build. So it'd be great to have her on as guest of the show next week, and we can talk about Heat 1, even though that isn't our Heat. We can obviously talk about stuff. What's this? Robert Cooney, all you trolls need to get a life. Careful now.
They need shooting.
Ham Shackleton, good evening to you. Zed Mark Anthony, you're a top quality troll. You come to the job with a worth ethic and your own bridge to sit underneath. Faya Olan. Oh, this is old school. Zed Mark Anthony, traditional, advanced Dungeons and Dragons or Lord of the Rings. I am nerdy because I know what those acronyms mean. Is it Sentinel Halo? Find hot Sterling singles. Oh dear!
It's all going over my head.
Sterling single, the locomotive, still like at the railway music.
My knowledge of railways is very low, as you know. I've spent 40 years nothing to do with model railways or trains. Full stop.
Jay Van Am. Anybody aware of a YouTuber who may be re-airing the GMRC for here in the USA and Canada? I don't know. I don't know whether Series 1 turned up on YouTube or not. I know that the BBC are very hot with stamping down on people copyright infringing. But I don't know whether the Channel 5 stuff will. But a top tip for you, in the UK at least, whilst you can't watch the BBC iPlayer if you're outside of the UK, or indeed if you don't have a TV licence either, that restriction... as of this moment, I don't believe applies to either Channel 4 or Channel 5 or ITV. And I believe they all have their own catch-up services as well. Yes. So you may find that you can watch it from Channel 5's catch-up site once the episode has been aired in the UK. But it may be geographically limited. But if you're a bit of a whiz with computers, you can spoof your IP and kid it into thinking that you're based in the UK to be able to watch it, if that makes sense. It was Zed Mark Anthony. VPNs help with the watching BBC stuff, that or just watch them on Daily Motion. Yeah, it's that kind of thing. But I'm not condoning doing that. But I just, I
don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I've just heard that may be the case. Is that Mark Wilson? How long were you there, and did you have to keep going back? Now, each heat.
We were there for 3 days, weren't we? For the heat.
three days of filming, plus we were there the days either side, so that's 5 days. But generally speaking, you weren't just turning up and loafing around the day before.
God, no.
You were it's a long way, and you were battling your way down through traffic, and you didn't go to Forley Hill on the day you went down. You went straight to the hotel. If you were lucky, you got there at lunchtime. If you were unlucky, you got there
in time for bed.
Yeah, you got there at like 10 o'clock at night.
And then in the morning you had horrendous traffic to get through the outskirts of Reading and everything to Forley.
Yeah, when they were filming the final,
it was Henley Regatta as well.
It was Henley Regatta, which I think was, I don't know whether they knew that or whether it was like, oh, this is going to be a bit bad. But we, all the people who were in the audience got sheets to basically say, go this way, you'll beat all the traffic to get to Forley Hill.
When on the final, I didn't get any notification that we weren't staying at the same hotel, so I turned up at the same hotel, only for the guy there to say, "Who are you?" I said, "Well, I've got a room booked here, I think." No, you haven't. And then
No,
tried to get...
you Wally. The Henley Regatta, all the rooms were booked, so everybody ended up getting booked in. There was like hundreds of us all booked into this place with with like one parking space between every 4 rooms. So that was a wacky races trying to get back there.
Well, we left the vehicles, didn't we, a few times at Fall Hill and just used one.
Yeah. It was what's this? Z Mark Anthony, Pirates versus the Jenny Navy. When? Yarg.
I've got family in the Navy, so watch out.
In the Navy, it's
very
all
high
fun
up in the
and
Navy.
Yeah, well, I've got a Wren's uniform in the background. I'm not putting it on.
Oh, can I put it on?
If it fits. Excuse me, Mark Wilson. Did you go to the pub at night, or was it early to bed?
It was more or less straight to bed, wasn't it? I mean, it was late to bed anyway.
Yeah, we weren't getting back to the hotel until like 9, 10 o'clock at night.
Because it was an hour's journey from the hotel to Fawley Hill.
And it's about half an hour, I reckon. About half an hour.
Depends which way you went.
Oh, what's that? Ham Shackleton. What's that logo on your shirts? This is our team logo. I'm trying to get close enough without sort of wiping my boob on the camera. It's the old Rail Riders logo, but for copyright reasons, the BR double arrow has been taken off very carefully before it was reproduced on the shirt.
We got permission. I think Brian organised all of this, didn't he?
Well, what he found out was that nobody technically owns the logo. It's kind of an out of copyright logo, but because the BR double arrow... Is that
because BR are dead?
Something it's just got lost in the mists of time. But the double arrow is still copyright. It's still used because it's actually now become the symbol that the Ordnance Survey and councils use to denote a railway station. Believe it or not, that's why you still see it on signs. If you ever look, the signs that point to the railway station,
it's still got that.
They have the double arrow logo on a red background, and it's because it's become synonymous with a station this way. But it's a very good shorthand, very visually attractive. Love Hot Dogs 323 Drunk Model Railway Challenge. Now, unlike Biggest Little Railway, I did not function drunk most of that shooting. I mean, Biggest Little, because you were on Biggest Little Railway with me as well, and I can remember.
I can remember you with that piece of track and drinking.
Oh, everybody did that. The beer luge.
Scottish Martin doing the dance in his yellow onesie.
In the Pikachu suit. Yeah, that was all good fun.
It was.
And that party that's actually shown there, they show little snippets, and they actually show the film crew got drunk with us as well, which is why there's not actually a lot of footage, I was told, because the film crew got drunk. And what they then filmed was useless. But the morning after, I can remember doing the team briefing filming that we did every morning. And they then didn't use.
And there was
any
a haze over you, alcoholic haze.
I was wasted, and I can. When you wake up the following morning and you're like, oh, I am tanked. And I was like, I got really worried because it's like, when you're drunk, but you really don't want to be, and you're trying to be ever so careful. And we filmed all this stuff. And I was there with Dick Strawbridge, and afterwards I sidled over to him. I said, I'm really sorry. I am absolutely drunk still from last night. I've woken up this morning and I am absolutely sauced. I hope I haven't made a fool of myself whilst we've been filming that. And he says, oh no, you hold your ale well. But then I spent the day with a hangover because it was just like, as I sobered up, my brain went, oh, hangover. What was it? Oh, Thea Olan. No Wren's uniform. There are enough trolls out here without trying to attract them. To be honest, I don't think I'd look very pretty.
Carol was asking about...
I required advice, Jenny. As I ready to lay track at long last, do I stay with DC or go for DCC? To be honest, both are good, depending on what you want to do. It's simply a case of DCC... in some respects can be easier, in other respects can be harder. It depends also on your locomotive stock as well. If you have a lot of older locos that need to be hardwired, you may find that sticking with DC is best. It's whatever you're most comfortable with. I don't think that there's a right or a wrong one.
You can combine the two, like you've done upstairs.
I've done it. You can combine the two as long as never put a DC locomotive on a DCC energized track because you'll fry the motor. Not instantly, but they make an angry buzzing noise and it's not healthy for them. Also, you don't want feedback to each controller from the other controller. I doubt that a DCC controller likes being fed back DCC, and I suspect that the DC controller likes even less having the, I think it's 20 volts or something AC fed back to it. So you do have to keep them completely isolated. That doesn't mean you can't have tracks that go from one to the other. You just have to make sure that they're completely isolated. Yeah, Carol Taylor, you're in the same boat that I was, and I decided to go DCC, and it was the DCC sound that actually sold it to me. That's basically
what sold it with me. For all of my sort of model railway, the not Lobia and everything, it had all been DC. But I decided I wanted to, rather than just sit back and watch the trains go around, which I'd done with that, or have to do all the isolations and everything so that you could control each train separately. I wanted to be able to just do that with one controller, and you can only really do that when you've got DCC with the programs. So I sold all my trains, all my engines rather, not trains.
You kept a few. You
kept a few that you've done for me that you've hardwired and everything.
Looking back, I could have probably done more of the ones that you sold on as well.
I had about 58, I think it was, of the old DC ones, and now I've got nearly 20 DCC ones.
Yeah, you come along. You went on a spending spree the other week because you kept bringing them in to me to
and they're all boxed up because I can't play with anything for some time now.
Oh,
it's a real shame, but never mind.
What you need to do is to build yourself a small portable layout, like I've got in the back bedroom, Grove Street Yard. Yeah. And then you can at least shuffle them about. I don't know whether you might be like me and get insanely bored very quickly just shuffling locomotives.
Well, I've never really done sort of the shunting and the fiddle and the whatever they call these little Inglenook kind of setups.
Just like shunting puzzles and stuff, which is what Grove Street Yard is. It's like 4 different shunting puzzles all together. Crammed into the same layout. But. Actually, Warrington Train Spotter 2778. I enjoyed the GMRC last year. It got me back into the hobby, looking forward to the new series. And a lot of people have said that. And it's one of the things as well that our friend Lawrence, who does the organisation for the Model Railway Club for Alexandra Palace, the London Festival of Railway Modelling, he said that after that show, they got so many extra people through, and they tended to be families, people who may not necessarily have even thought about it as a hobby, gained this interest and thought, oh, actually, this looks really good.
I had feeds come, quite a lot of negative feeds initially back to me about this whole competition, but more recently a lot more positive ones, and things like an old lady, I don't mean to be ageist, but she said she was an old lady of 62 and she got so excited about this program she has actually built her own N-gauge model railway as a result of this. And another gentleman, he took his daughter, or he and his daughters were watching the programme, and they got so excited about it that he too has started a railway, and he's brought his daughters in to help with him, and they're only young children.
Yeah.
Not all kids want the sort of the flat screen computer games. They want something that they can be more creative
and actually,
with.
I think a lot of kids, certainly younger kids, really do take to model railways if given the opportunity. I mean, my little nephews are really into it, especially my little nephew Henry. He is mad about trains. He just lives and breathes trains, and because he's got into it from an early age, I think he's going to be it's going to be a big thing for him. But Patrick Furlong, hi to you. I believe, you were in Zoe's live stream yesterday, weren't you? How's the Jennytopia layout going, Jen? It's going very well, actually. It's pretty much finished. If you take a look at my YouTube channel, then there's a lot of videos on there. You can see how that's going. It features in the Channel 5 trailer, which has really impressed me. But yeah, the Jennytopia thing is I've declared my loft room a micronation.
A micronation,
I've declared independence.
Passport control.
Yeah, I'll stamp your passport.
Is it affected by Brexit?
No, we have a trading alliance with, funnily enough, it's really weird. When you declare yourself a micronation, there's lots of other micronations that immediately then recognise you as a functioning micronation. It's really quite peculiar.
Oh, not Lobe, you'll have to become one.
Exactly. Well, that is actually a really good idea. You should do that.
How do you do it?
Speak to Zoe. I don't know. She
all right.
did it all. Well, we're actually This room has been declared a sovereign nation, a micronation of Colandia, which is Zoe's little micronation. So we're actually broadcasting from Colandia, but if we go upstairs, we're in Jennytopia.
Jennytopia. And if you go down the road 100 yards, it's not Lobia.
Exactly. No, you should do a bit
of
good fun.
With it.
Yes, Patrick Furlong. It was me who offered you £2 to tickle Zoe last night. I did do it, didn't I? I used the Kenny Everett foam finger. But anybody who's interested in dropping in and checking out Zoe's YouTube channel, she does a live stream every Sunday. It's Game Hammer Classic Gaming, so that's pretty cool. Lots of retro computer stuff. Mark Wilson, I think the GMRC program has shown people it can be so much fun without having to count rivets.
True.
Yeah, and that was a big thing.
I mean, there's absolutely nothing wrong counting rivets if that's what lights your candle, basically.
It's when you start ruining the, becoming the fun police for everybody else. I think we've all been to places where there's been a rivet counting fun police idiot who's ruined it for everybody else. And I think what GMRC has been striving to do is to break free from that. Yeah. And it's done it very well, certainly from what we've seen.
Well, it's made a programme that's entertaining, and that's what it's got to be.
Yeah.
If they just sort of stuck the cameras in front of somebody just doing, I keep saying, sort of point rodding and ballasting and all that, although that gets covered to some extent in the programme, but if it was just going into the real anal kind of depths of the model railway, nobody would watch it. You've got YouTube for all of that. This is pure entertainment and sort of fun.
Yeah. Oh, Patrick Furlong, the donation that I've got super chat. I think there's a little $sign at the bottom, but and don't worry about it. I am on Patreon as well. We've been neglecting actually a lot of these comments. If we don't get to your comment, it's because we tend to wax lyrically a lot. But Fox Hill,
I can't read off what's on there.
Can you not?
Well, I can, but
you have to be like, what's going on there?
And then people look up your nose.
Let's have a look. So Stuart Muir, the following week I have the Dapple Members Day. The following day I'm looking forward to joining you guys at the East Lancashire Railway. Thanks for reminding me. 22nd of September. So
who's showing you around?
Nobody's yet, but do you know anybody who might be able to we're having the Jenny Monday Club big Sunday meetup at the East Lancs Railway.
It's a bit awkward for me to sort of get in touch with Nigel, my sort of in-law, who showed us around when we did it. Because I'm not sure if he's in the country at the moment.
I don't know how many people are coming. It could be. It might just be like basically me and a couple of other people, but it might also be like 30 or 40 people. I really don't know. But certainly it's the first ever meetup, and it comes 2 days after our episode is shown. So do you want to come? It's on the Sunday.
I've got my hospital appointment. It's on the Sunday.
On the Sunday. 22nd is the Sunday. We're doing it lunchtime at the East Lancs. Do you want to come out?
I won't say yes and I won't say no.
Right. Because you'll be famous then, because you'll be in on telly.
Infamous.
Yeah.
I'll be in hiding with Lord Lucan.
Lord Lucan.
Sugar.
Yeah. Oh, well, they're riding off into the sunset with Glenn Miller and Elvis. Foxhill Road. Bonjour, Jenny from France. Bonjour to you as well. I'm afraid my French is pretty rubbish.
Avez-vous un timbre pour la carte postale en Angleterre, s'il vous plaît?
Où est le ballon d'Allon?
Où est le sage?
Il est dans la quoi?
Le sage dans l'arbre.
Ne marche pas vite. All I can remember was that there's like little bits that I remember. I do remember that swimming pools, la piscine, and the way that I remembered it as a kid was that it's like, what do you do? What's the first thing you do when you get in a swimming pool and you're a kid? You have a piss in it. So it's la piscine.
You've heard the French joke about the 3 French kittens skating on the ice.
What happened?
And trois cat sank.
Oh, right. What's this? Berry 120. I've seen things go both ways in the rivet counter situation. Interestingly, the traditional rivet counters that do nothing but bash your efforts. Yeah, we all know those. Yeah. And the anti-rivet counters that bash your efforts because they're too realistic, therefore spoiling the fun. I've never been guilty of that, I have to say. Both are equally annoying, shall we say? Certainly, I completely agree with you. And at the end of the day, it's a broad church, is any kind of modelling, but certainly railway modelling. And there's a place for them all. I think lots of people have seen the work at Miniature Wunderland, and also have you seen the Liverpool Lime Street?
I have,
model?
yes, only on YouTube, yeah.
I've seen it in the flesh. I can't remember whether it was either Worley or I think it was Worley, and it's just an amazing model. And you look at it, and it really is Rivet perfect. And I can look at that and think, wow, that is just an amazing show of modelling. But at the same token, I can look at completely freelance models. There was one actually at Worley. That was all it did was it was a small kind of like a micro layout. I think it's in 016.5, something like that, and it had a working radio controlled a kind of the Ruston Bicarus, the cable controlled scoop.
Yes.
The really old school thing before they had hydraulic mechanical excavators. And it was digging up sand, loading up a train that was then moving it and dumping it and then coming back. And it was just magical to watch, really was. And it was quite a simple layout. But things like that, and that kind of taps into the Great Model Railway Challenge, trying to have this sort of this animation, this motion. Yes. And I can always remember that as being something that stuck in my mind. It's like, that really adds so much play value.
I think it was on YouTube or on Facebook somewhere. Somebody's model railway, or it was at a show where they'd actually got a little hot air balloon that was lifting off and sort of hovering. I don't know how they've done that, but it was fantastic. And yet, although it was realistic, which Hamburg is in one sense, but it's not realistic when you start to think of it. It doesn't look like the real world would look like, but the amount of detail and the...
Yeah, I mean, like, your modelling is incredible. I always say this because it's true, that the level of detail that you get into your model is incredible, but it's not based on a specific location. No, and sometimes I think that it's a broad church. There's space in this hobby for the people who like to ultra realistically model a specific area. And
everybody needs to respect everybody else's
exactly
take on the hobby.
Just because something's good for one person doesn't necessarily mean that it's good for another, and there's no right or wrong.
I'm a bit counter, just not very good at it.
Yeah, I always lose count. Fly Mode Chairman 1, James Hardy. Perth to Dundee or to Oban to Dunblane to Oban sounds like a good biggest little railway subject matter. I think the TV company Love Productions vowed they'd never do it again because it was just I remember the location producer, Karen Miles. She didn't sleep practically for 2 weeks, and I caught up with her towards the end of the shoot, and I can remember thinking, gosh, I don't remember her looking this rough. She didn't look this rough when I went down to London. And she was like, bags under her eyes.
Bags for life.
And then when we went to the test screening of the first episode, and there was me, there was Charlie, there was Lawrence, and there was Paul, and she looked amazing. She'd obviously caught up on sleep. And I said to her, you look so much better than when we were on the shoot in Scotland. And she said, I was barely getting an hour a night. I was so racked with worry. So they basically, it was a nightmare to film.
I think the budget was astronomical at the end of the day, wasn't it, as well, that put them off?
Well, I was told £3.5 million, but I don't know. Don't quote me on that. I don't know the truth of that. You hear these figures bandied around, and I do know through my sister the kind of budgets that different programs have. And I think Time Team had a budget of something like £250,000 per episode. So, and that was a big draw for Channel 4. So it was actually, for what they got, 5 episodes, they were spending a lot of money per episode. And they just filmed too much. 500 odd hours worth of footage. Hello, my name is Jamal. Every 60 seconds in Africa, a minute passes. Together we can stop this. Yes, you too can stop time. I find that there's certain people you can listen to talking and time just seems to stop. What's that, £3.50? Well, so I've colour me intrigued. Where's the £3.50? What are you all talking about here? Sorry, we're kind of... Oh, it says Mark was. Oh, Monty Python. There's always room for the memorial Monty Python joke or quote. I fart in your general direction. Your mother was a hamster, and your father smelt of elderberries. Actually, I found out the other day John Cleese really hated filming that. He despised every minute. I can sympathise with that at times. Actually, filming even just television programmes, you have days and parts of the shoot where you think, what the hell am I doing here? I know Biggest Little Railway, sometimes you'd be out being eaten alive by midges, cold, soaking wet,
piss wet
miserable.
Through. Yeah. And they caught me on camera. I'm fucking piss wet through. Got beeped and everything.
Language, Timothy, because you don't get beeped here, but we just get censored by YouTube.
Viaduct Central Model Railway. I'm a kid and I've been doing model railways for 8 years. Well done. Well done. And he's got his own channel to encourage other children, kids to get involved. That's excellent. 3.5 million. Flymo Chairman 1. James Carroll. Hello, Jenny. I need to send you an email. But I don't give out my email for various reasons publicly. So you'll have to get in contact with me through the Facebook page. There's a way of messaging me on that. And that's the best way to get in touch. Flying Scott, one swear word means 20 demonetized videos, remember? I heard Sam's Trains had a spot of bother about, we were talking about this last week, actually. A little bit clickbaity video, seeing if a model train runs underwater. Spoiler alert, yes it does, because you're only dealing with 12 volts. But apparently lots of people piled in and complained, so certain doo-doo went and hit the fan. Dovan's GWR SVLC on the 12th at 8 p.m. If TV viewers watch SVLC. What's S4C?
I don't know. I've not been following the comments, so basically, if I appear as if I'm ignoring you, it's not on purpose. It's just we could talk for England.
We could, yeah. Not the cricket team though.
No, they're
Don't mention cricket.
Don't mention the war. The war. Oh, you mentioned the war. I only mentioned it once, but
Get away with it.
Mark Wilson. Apparently, Sam is doing a bonfire night special. Locos powered by fire. I thought that was just a rumor because it's basically been done. Spoiler alert. Yes, it will work, and it'll make a mess. And no. Basically, I think we got the troll back, so if anybody wants to go and slap the idiot's face, feel free.
I wonder what that was.
Yeah. I might have to make a few more moderators. So, Devan GWR, congratulations! You're in here a lot. You're now a moderator. Feel free to kick ban any spammers or trolls. So there we are, grand. Zed Mark Anthony. Oh, come on, this is like I'm a mod and so is my wife. Might add in a few more if we need it, but yeah. Dovan's GWR, because you've been here pretty much from the start of the live stream, so you have the power of the spanner, the blue spanner. Warrington Train Spotted 2778 as well. You're in here too, so cool. Evening to you, Mr. Morris, Flying TARDIS. Zed Mark Anthony, I'll be the alpha mod. We'll see. If we have a problem, we'll start nominating more mods. I get told off if I make more than one person a mod at a time. Mark Wilson, do you know roughly how much it costs to run a diesel at a gala? I would guess a couple of £100 in diesel alone, in all honesty. James Hardy, Sam can enter the Great Model Railway Challenge with an underwater layout. If you can build it in 2.5 days. It'd be interesting, actually. I know that... take a run up. It's SDJR88. is it no SDJR7F88? It's actually Callum Wilcox is his name. He was on Series 1 of the Great Model Railway Challenge. So there were YouTubers on Series 1 who made a thing about being YouTubers. But it might be interesting actually to have a completely like a celebrity YouTuber team maybe. But just because you're a YouTuber doesn't necessarily mean that you want to make a model railway in 2.5 days. But yeah, no, that might be interesting. I believe Series 3. Yeah, there we are. I like Trust SDJR7F88. I am a subscriber to his channel, it has to be said. So I don't know whether he subscribes back. He might be lurking in the chat rooms. A lot of people lurk, and that's perfectly fine.
How long did it take us to agree on a layout for the GMRC? Well, the first layout, without trying to give too much away, we were allowed to prepare
the one that you see in the trailer. Well done, letting stuff slip. The one that you see in the trailer, we were actually quite quick on that. Essentially, we had a meeting at one of our houses, and we had a few ideas that we kind of banded around. Then we all met up, and I pitched a particular idea. I'm not going to say what the idea is because I don't know whether the theme is embargoed or not. And essentially everybody went yes.
That was it.
Because the whole point was what we wanted was an actual theme for our layout that you didn't have to explain.
Yeah, everybody would say that's...
Yeah, it would be obvious what it was without it. Without it actually needing to be explained. Because I think that that was important essentially, and it worked actually.
Yes,
nobody looking at it would ever go, so what's your theme then? What's this model? It was obvious.
The trolls will in a week's time. They'll come back and say, well, what was that model railway you built?
Yeah. But no, it was fairly simple. After that, I think there was a few little arguments about what was going to go where, and there was a little bit of an argument over maybe because you're allowed 6 pre-builds on your heat layout.
Not 84,000 like Missenden models did.
Yeah. Although saying that, it was interesting. If you wanted to munchkin the rules, it said at one point in the rules 8, and then at another point in the rules it said 6. And actually, it should have been 6. But you could theoretically have lawyered it through and gone, well, it says 8 here, so the rules should be interpreted in favour of the party that did not draft them. But essentially it was deciding what should be a pre-build. And of course, a top tip for you for if you do next year, your 6 pre-builds, don't just pick something simple like, oh, I really fancy building a tree, so I'll build a tree. You pick things that will be really difficult to build within the time frame at the event. So you're picking things that would actually take hours, like tens of hours, if not more, of work to do. And also
ones that have dramatic effect. Yeah,
because you want to kind of work your animations into those so that you know that they work. Essentially, top tip for you, don't waste your 6 pre-builds. Make them count. Mark Wilson, are you limited to a space like 8 foot by 8 foot max? No, actually, you just supplied with the baseboards. They just we just got these pre-made baseboards, so you didn't have to build your baseboards, and they were 10 foot by 5 foot. Oh, thank you very much.
Divided into 3 sections
for...
The
booze has arrived.
Oh, right.
I think that I don't.
Thank you very much, Zoe. Much
Do
appreciated.
you want another coffee, or do you want to?
I'll have the same as you.
It is alcoholic. I will warn you. There we are. I'll give
you a Coke instead.
Which one?
I'll have one of those, but
it's very
I'll
refreshing.
have another coffee afterwards.
It's a bit like Lambrini.
Oh,
it's like, oh, come on, everybody, dance round your handbags.
Come on, let me get that Ren's outfit on.
Yeah.
Cheers. Cheers to the success of the programme.
Yeah. So, as everybody knows, it is always tradition in the Jenny Monday Club to watch me slowly get drunk.
Power model cars with a Hot Wheels launcher.
Who's passing you drinks from the cupboard? That's not the cupboard.
That was Zoe.
That's the doorway in.
Zoe, you're not a cupboard.
Oh no, I don't think she's paying attention. She's probably
Just designing
downstairs.
my layout using Pico set track. I'm trying to get a third line in closest line, but struggling to find tightest curves. Would flexi track be best for this area? Well, you've got to be careful on how tight you make the curves for some of the modern track.
What I would suggest is actually, if you're going to do tight curves or you want a geometry to be perfect, then set track is quite useful for that. But otherwise, use flexi track. I always find flexi tracks a lot better. Or you can mix and match the two.
But don't go really any less than sort of second radius, isn't it? That Hornby do, because a lot of the more modern
some
trains
of
will not
the
go
bigger
round
ones
them.
just won't go round.
They'll constantly derail, and you can't do anything about it.
But Warrington Train Spotter 2778. What happens to the layouts afterwards? Who keeps the finished layouts? Right, this is essentially the team gets to keep it. So effectively, what happens is that if the team doesn't want it, it literally goes in a skip. And there were layouts that did literally just get smashed up and put in a skip, even with glue and paint still wet. I mean, I helped dismantle one, and I was like, I had like brown paint and sand all over my fingers.
Without being a spoiler, we can say what's happening to ours because it's already out there in the domain.
Yeah, I've already said it. That ours is actually, and you'll have seen little snippets of it. Our layout that you see in the trailer for the series. So, for example, Steve Flint peering under the viaduct. That's our layout. That layout and the boat that's on fire and sinking.
Which I made.
No, I made the boat.
Oh, you made the boat. Yeah,
he made
we
the
combined
effect.
all the effects and things.
Yeah, he did the effects, and I built and painted the boat.
And I wrecked it.
Well, no,
no.
I modified it. It was actually an Airfix kit, and it was quite modified.
It looked very good when it was done altogether, didn't it?
Yeah, actually, it worked out quite. It still does. But ours is that layout is in storage in the warehouse of Hatton's.
Top secret location.
Well, that's where it is. It's in the. I said this the other week actually. I've not made it a secret. But essentially, it's in storage, waiting for the embargo to be lifted. The embargo was lifted on the 20th of September, after the episode it's featured in is broadcast. And believe me, I've got a lot of video footage of it running, being built. There's lots of photographs as well. So essentially,
people are going to get bombarded, aren't they?
Well, I'll be putting a couple of videos up. So this Friday's video is kind of a little bit of a trailer. But Mark Wilson, have you seen the whole programme yourself?
No.
Only insofar as we were there whilst they filmed it. But I have no idea what's going to make the cut and what's not. Because you've got to remember, there's like it's 10 hours a day for the first 2 days, and then maybe 4 hours build time on the second. So you get 24 hours of actual build time. And then they spend the rest of the third day doing all the filming and stuff. But essentially, that's a lot of footage, and they had, was it 2 or 3 film crews knocking about? I can't remember.
Definitely 3.
Three film crews.
Yeah. Because when I was been interviewed a number of times, there'd be others in another part of Fawley Hill, and you'd have to be quiet while they were doing theirs. So
There was definitely
definitely 3.
Right. 'Cause I'll be honest, I was so engrossed in building stuff. But essentially, there's a lot of footage. But Mark Wilson, who provides the locos and stock? We did actually. We used. You could order it through the suppliers, but effectively, if you kind of went and got loads of goodies from Hornby and Bachman, it meant you couldn't then get other stuff because you were price limited. You had a fixed amount from each supplier that you could get. So there were teams who kind of went, oh, goodies, and got freebies for themselves. And that was apparently one of the big problems with GMRC Series 1. Now, if you do that, the problem with that is that you don't have the materials you need to make a truly awesome layout. So we didn't get goodies like trains and rolling stock. Instead, we utilised our own, and that worked really well. And we were therefore able to get a lot of other stuff.
We were in it to win it, but we were in it to try and make something that was entertaining for people to look at, be part of the competition generally. We weren't in it to feather our own nest.
But yeah, Tooty Toothless. Hi, my dad thinks you're awesome. Well, thank you very much. What do we got?
Are you talking about you or me? Probably you.
Well, I don't know. Dovan's GW, I'll be back in a bit. Warrington, it's up to you for about half an hour. Ham Shackleton, that went wrong. I was meant to read Voctor or Victor. The Ballast Man, hello. I was on the last series of the GMRC on Fire and Ice. I'm looking forward to seeing your episode. Oh, thank you very much.
Yes, thank you.
I must say, I did watch Series 1, but actually I came late to the party. I actually watched Series 1 for the first time after I was already in a team for Series 2 and we were already doing the planning. And I was told, look, you have to actually watch these episodes to know what's going on. I was involved in the build-up to Series 1. I was involved, actually, right from the start when they were kind of fact-finding and working out a format. But I dropped out. I was actually the team captain of Team Sci-Fi that did the Dalek layout, but I dropped out for complicated reasons prior to filming. Oh, the Ballast Man. I was one of the railway children. Right. I do remember that layout. I mean, we know quite a few people who were on different teams.
Yes,
Team Sci-Fi. There's a lot of people from Biggest Little
Model,
Railway, actually, but also Mark Lee's team. I can't remember what they called themselves.
They built the skyscraper, didn't they? The
EastEnders theme layout. They get out of my pub.
Yeah.
I can't remember what they called.
They
themselves.
used a part of the railway track that we had for Biggest Little Railway, didn't they, for the canal?
Yes.
Upturned,
Obviously, the film company didn't make a big thing about that. Rival channels, rival franchises. But the Ballast Man. I am curious. How did you find your filming experience? I know they were probably still finding their feet, but obviously you filmed in the same location and no doubt stayed in the same hotels and went through the same awful commute and stuff. How did you actually find it? J Van Amb, are teams allowed extra access to the layouts during non-shooting schedule periods? No. And you came in the morning and it was locked up. You weren't allowed in until they said you were. Was
there any rivalry? No, there wasn't rivalry. I think there was camaraderie between
there
everybody.
Was more camaraderie.
Yes, everybody was sort of friendly to each other. We
were helping people out. I mean, we were actually even swapping materials with people.
Yeah. Well, one team had a loco that wasn't working for a while, and we swapped one that we'd got. I think they got theirs fixed in the end.
Did we lend them a loco?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that was the way it rolled. There wasn't this sort of massive competitiveness. We all knew that we were there to put on a good show, and it was all about making the hobby look good. The Ballast Man. So we were the first episode to be filmed. So it was rather stressful for us as we got told to stop being so loud building. We got told that a lot. We were warned in advance, actually, it was Mark Lee that warned me. He said, you'll be trying to cut some wood or something or drill holes or hammer.
Layout,
and they'd be like, oh, can you stop doing that? So a lot of your building time would be curtailed. So you had to actually plan the use of your time very wisely and make as much all the noisy stuff you'd kind of, as soon as they started resetting up the cameras to get a different angle on something, everybody would start drilling and hammering and sawing and making the most of those 5 minutes. The Ballastman, we were against the Forley Flyers and the Diesel Dynamos. They have released all the names of the teams.
Right.
So we were.
Is that in the magazine that's coming out as well? Is it?
It's all been. There's a list of teams out there somewhere. I think Steve Flint's posted it.
Right.
But we were on with Team Phoenix, and who were the other ones? Can you remember their name?
Scarborough Flyers.
Scarborough Flyers. So we were there with up against Team Phoenix and Scarborough Flyers. Said Mark Anthony, they should make a layout with live explosives for the cameras. Well, watch the series and see is all I will be able to say about that. Let's have a look. Let's have a look. Oh, you finally got a notification about somebody's video. Flymo Chairman 1. Yeah, there's been an issue with notifications on YouTube. I don't get any notifications. I did look out after everybody was saying there was a problem, and I've never had any. Warrington Train Spotted 2778. What happened to the locust and roller stock that was not your own that you were able to keep? Don't you tell? Ended up in a skipper. No. See, look. The layouts that got skipped were stripped of bits. You know, we're not stupid. Neither were any of the other teams. If a team couldn't make use of a layout, you know, stuff was just ripped off it right, left, and centre. Anything that was reusable. So what actually ended up in the skip was
basically the baseboards.
Basically stuff that would not be usable in a million years. You know, like track was getting salvaged, electrics were getting salvaged. In fact,
the baseboards ended up in the skip, so what we said they should have gone in the first place.
Yeah, we didn't think much of the baseboards, I'll be honest with you.
No.
Actually, we did notice at the end there was one of the teams, Team Corby, were actually quite keen to... they tooled up. They turned up for the filming of the final with a trailer. And they were ready to, at the end, they were just going around going, right, anybody not want a layout? We want the baseboards for our club layouts and stuff. So they actually did get at least 2 layouts that I know of. Yeah. Mark Wilson, would you do it again? Did it seem more oiled than the last series? See, I never saw the filming of the last series, so it's difficult to tell. But certainly, it did work out. As far as I'm aware... essentially, no team that I know of failed to finish their build. You know, all of the builds looked finished. There was none of this like bare papier-mâché or plasticine shoved in gaps or bare wood or screw heads like Missenden managed. So essentially, from that respect, all the teams did really, really well. But I've got nothing to compare it to. The Ballast Man, can I ask how your backstory filming went? Yeah, it went really well actually. They came round here and they filmed for pretty much an entire day. So when you see Les being interviewed at some point, no doubt, saying about like, oh, this is what we hope to achieve and stuff. He's not sat in his own living room. He's sat in my living room.
Well, they wanted, obviously, as a team leader, they wanted initially to come and film at my gallery and my layout, but my layout was being dismantled and Jenny's wasn't. Jenny had got one that she'd been working on in the loft. You got a garden one and you'd got another show one, so it made sense to...
And I put off dismantling Bolton Trinity Road because I thought, well, if they want to film a completely finished layout...
Plus Jenny was the only place where there was space to build the layout.
Yeah, it's quite a big house, so we were able to set up the film crew in the lounge where they interviewed you. Yes. And then they set up again in the conservatory where our pre-builds were coming together. And then they also set up and filmed in, we've got quite a large sort of farmhouse style kitchen, and they did some filming in there of the whole team sat around a table eating
pretending
pizza.
To eat, yes.
Yeah, it's really weird trying to pretend to eat pizza when it's like the same slice and it's cold by the time you actually get to eat any. So it went really well, and then they filmed for half an hour, maybe an hour, up in the loft. So Weir Yard does actually feature in the trailer. So if you look closely in the trailer, the rake of Intercity Mark 1 coaches are actually running around Weir Yard. And I feel quite honoured that Weir Yard is the only layout that was not at Forley Hill at all that has been featured in the trailer.
Well, I seen the trailer. When they were talking to me in the initial stages, I wanted to come. I said, I've got no layout, but I have got photos. So I sent them a whole load of photographs. Don't know whether any of those will feature when they do any of the backstory. I doubt it because it's not movement.
What I suspect is that they will superimpose Weir Yard running over you talking. So it will be insinuated.
That's my layout.
That it's your layout.
You're only looking after it for me.
Yeah, but what you're actually going to be seeing is my layout. But and also, actually, it's interesting. You can probably work out when it was filmed by looking at how complete Weir Yard was, and then cross-referencing that with my YouTube videos. Fox Hill Railway. Will you have diesels or steam on GMRC? People use both. You'll have to watch it and find out. Let's have a look. Canadian rail fan, looking forward to GMRC setting up team for season 3. Me in Canada and the rest of the team in the UK. Wish us luck. Now, it's interesting you say that. On our team, we had one team member who lives in Sweden.
In a railway station?
Yes, he does. He's the editor of Moderators Magazinet, which is a magazine that I write quite a bit for, and Les is actually written for
and
as
it's
well.
like the Swedish equivalent of Railway Modeler and
pretty much, yeah. It's a great magazine. So
difficult to read unless you're Swedish, but lovely pictures in there.
Yeah. But so there is precedent having an overseas member, so
Yes.
I think that'll actually work out quite well. So they flew him in. He flew into Heathrow and then caught the train to Reading, and we picked him up at the station there.
He was only able to be in the first episode that you see, unfortunately. Other commitments kept him away, and we had to change the team slightly.
Yeah,
for,
shut up, Les. You're not
I'm not supposed to say
about, yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
but yes, he
The
was a
trouble
nice
with
guy.
Les is he can't keep secrets. Right, anywho, let's just ignore that.
Did we know each other?
Do the team members already know each other, or do they put together strangers? Now, a mix of both. Our team, we all kind of knew each other.
Yeah.
Essentially, I was the commonality between the team, because it was originally my team. They swapped me out as team leader because of my involvement with Series 1. They wanted all new faces, and they were worried that because I'd done some stuff for Series 1 that Channel 5 executives would veto the team because they'd recognise my face, because they're basically thick and wouldn't...
You could have had my beard.
No, I don't look good in a beard. So they swapped me with Les, and Les didn't want to be team captain. So effectively, that's why I'm the second in command. The 2IC, the XO, is essentially...
But we got on well, didn't we?
Yeah, we get on really well, as you can tell. But I knew everybody in the team, but not everybody in the team knew the other people in the team. So essentially, you, me, and Simon A.C. Martin, we all know each other through Biggest Little Railway. Yeah. So we were fine. We all knew each other.
Got on well. Yeah, we had experience with each other.
I knew Brian, and then I also knew Stefan from... Oh, excuse me, there's a lot of gas in that. From Moderators Magazinet. And I thought it would be great to bring him in and have him on. And he was actually a little bit nervous about doing it. But he was actually king of building card kits. He was really good at building the Metcalf card kits. Much better than me. So he did really well. Yeah, and you knew him through, because Not Lobby has been featured in Moderators Magazinet. And then Melanie, I know from way back. She's probably, of all the people in the team, she's the person I've known for nearly 15 years. And I asked her, because I knew that she had an interest in railway modelling, and I thought it would be great because she's a wizard at electronics. Yes, so I asked her on, and also it's also very conscious that I wanted to get a bigger female contingent on the show. I thought it was important for the viewers to see women doing railway modelling as well as men.
So we had a sort of even kind of balance in our team.
See you later, Viaduct Central Model Rail. It's been great to have you along. But as I said before, if we miss out any comments, it's not because we're trying to, it's just we're doing a lot of talking and the comments come in so quickly. But there were teams that had members that were kind of like stuck together. They had interesting people apply, and they wanted to have those people in teams. And I think was it Strangers on a Train in Series 1 were in that boat. There were 6 modelers who were just they were put together as a team by the TV company. And I think there probably would have been teams in that boat this time round, but I'm not sure which they might have been. So yeah, both went on.
Maybe during Series 2 you could invite the Ballast Man or any of the GMRC teammates then or now into your cocktail closet for a live chat.
Cocktail closet. I'll drink to that. Actually, Yeah, I mean, it's if people want to come to the meetup, actually, it's probably the best way we'd all get together, and it will probably we'll have some stuff filmed as well, so it'll become one of the Jennycam videos. But on the 22nd of September, looking to meet at Bury Bolton Street Station in Bury, which is on the East Lancs Railway, and we'll be meeting at the pub that is on, I can never remember which platform it's on. I think it's on platform 3. But it's the one you can just walk into from the car park, so you don't need a ticket to get in there. I've checked. It's not a gala weekend, so no need for a platform ticket to get in there. And we're going to meet up, and it'll be nice to put some faces to names. And it'll be the very first Jenny Monday Club Big Sunday meetup, or as Zoe keeps referring to it, Jenny Fest 1. But yeah, it'd be great to meet anybody who can come down. But yeah, anybody who wants to come down, that's grand.
They probably know as well. There's a second-hand model shop on the platform.
There's a couple actually.
One on the.
And there's one that sells new models upstairs.
Upstairs, yeah.
But the Ballastman, our team all knew each other, but we all live over the UK. So for us, building our layout before filming was a challenge. Similar story to us, and space was a big issue.
Yeah.
And I think all the teams struggled with space because a 10-foot by 5-foot baseboard is quite a big thing to accommodate.
Some rooms are not big enough, are they?
I mean, I've got a big house, and we struggled. We turned over my entire conservatory. I mean, we took the furniture out to make everything fit, and it was still a tight squeeze in there.
Well, you and I lived sort of pretty close to each other, so we were able to.
Yeah, because you kept coming round, which was why you kept appearing in the back.
And the little hobbit.
And we kept making the jokes that we had you locked in the basement. Well, for those of you who remember, that's because Les was downstairs carving Jablite for our Great Model Railway series again. Flying Scott. Oh, speaking of models, what's your opinion on the Model Rail stroke Bachmann S100's running ability? The S100, that's not the USA dock tank, is it? The USA dock tank runs absolutely perfectly. In fact, I've got one sat on the track upstairs at the moment, which will probably go in my next Trains Going By video if I film one soon. But if that's the model you're thinking about, then it's a brilliant model.
Listening to Shed Chat while shunting on my layout, Mark Crosher. Can't think of a better way of spending the evening.
I'll drink to that. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Well, I've drunk to that.
I would offer you some
more.
No,
it's fine. I'm fine. No, I'll have a coffee when Zoe's.
I'm afraid the bottle is dry. Yeah,
I'll have a coffee.
Ring the bottle.
So you need one of those dumb waiters to ring Zoe.
What? Ding dong. Oh, there is a way of doing it. Hold on. But let's have a look. Brockwell Lane. Did anyone do anything other than OO gauge? So Les asks, did he have a coffee?
With one sugar.
Thank you.
I just said, is there not a dumb way or anything? And she said, there's a way of doing it, stamping your feet.
Bonsoir, Fox Hill Railway. 990.
Yeah, au revoir. Oh, that's German, isn't it?
No, it's I'm trying to. My French is very rusty. Yeah, au revoir. So take care, and hopefully we'll see you again next week.
Yes.
But yeah, anybody do anything other than OO gauge? It was actually in the rules. It had to be double O gauge, but you could use things like N gauge to create forced perspective, or use
narrow gauge.
Yeah, a lot of people used 009 as well. So,
because basically that's still OO gauge.
Yeah, it's the right scale. So some people did use narrow gauge. But you couldn't just build an N gauge layout. You couldn't do that. Similarly, you couldn't make an O gauge layout either. Did you? Oh, somebody's dinging me. Where's my phone gone? Did you get to see Sir William McAlpine's collection? Yes, we did actually. We got to ride on the Fawley Hill Railway. I do have footage of that. Yeah. And we also managed to. I certainly went round the museum as well.
I did, and the big engine in the room next door, and
we got into. Do you want a dash of whiskey?
No, just straight coffee.
Okay,
Thank you. Yes, it's an absolutely phenomenal place, Fawley Hill. Really eclectic, sort of something really weird and wacky. thoroughly enjoyed the experience of just being there. Apart from the peacocks
Oh,
pooing everywhere and making constant
you have
racket.
to be careful where you stood. But I've actually still got. I was given the people who run the actual events there. I've got an open invitation for just turning up whenever they've got things running to play trains, basically. And actually, I don't know about you. Did you get to play trains when I did? Because I'm one of those people who just like, oh, hello, mister. Can I have a look at your locomotive? Yeah, come on up. Right. Oh, pull that lever. Oh, yeah. Hoot, hoot. So I kind of get access all areas. So I got to ride on the Class 3 in the cab. I got to ride on the the Hibbard Planet Shunter. Got to ride in that as well. The steam loco wasn't running, but I did get to climb all over it. The ballastman, we were told that as well, but not given a card. I'm just really good at getting cards from people. Yeah, people do tend to recognise me a little bit. It's one of the fringe benefits of having a YouTube channel that people recognise you for in the railway and model railway world. It doesn't happen in Asda. I can still shop with impunity. So they kind of some people knew who I was, which kind of opens doors, which is great. Right. Oh, it seemed like a good idea when I saw it in the shop, but actually it's like drinking Lambrini. The ballastman, I got to ride in the Class 3 as a lovely horn. It certainly does, doesn't it? It's a very American sounding horn. I want those horns for my car. I can imagine just being behind somebody and like honking with that. It was almost like a Canadian.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. It's brilliant.
Stomping on the floor. Oh, yeah.
I told you it'd get attention.
Dancing on the ceiling?
Yeah. Canadian one. Yeah, Sir Concrete Bob. It's Sir Robert McAlpine. Not so. I think you might be confusing with Sir William Stanier. I saw the video here when the chap bought the Rushed and Hazard for Sir William McAlpine meeting the late. Yeah. I've seen that video recently as well. I don't know whether he's promoting his channel, but all of his videos have suddenly turned up, and he's picked up 2,000 subscribers in the last week, which is like, oh. But a lot of his videos have been around for anywhere up to 2 years, which is quite peculiar, but there we go. But yeah, that is the place, and essentially eclectic is the best way I can describe that collection.
Yes.
And there's no unifying theme. It's just like what happens if somebody just collects all this stuff and dumps it in their garden.
You get the facade of a railway station plonked in the hillside.
Yeah, with all
Ludgate Hill or whatever.
Yeah, with all of the insulators from Battersea Power Station that from the distance look like Daleks.
And you've got Flying Scotsman's wheels, tyres on the walls.
So when we got to ride on the railway and at the platform, the carriage door broke the barrier. Oh, right. Flying Scot. Yeah, I bumped into the same chap yesterday. Quite interesting content. Yeah. I don't know why all this content's just suddenly
where's
seem
my
to...
biscuits? I've just seen that there.
Zoe and I ate them earlier on. We got a big bag of chocolate biscuits and we scoffed them whilst watching episodes of Friends. Right, bish bash bosh. Just having a look. Bolton Model Railway Club. Oh, good to see you. Good evening, Jennifer and Les. From all the Bolton Model Railway Club, we are looking forward to GMRC. Brilliant. That's Bolton Model Railway Club down at Bolton Trinity Street Station. They're between platforms 4 and 5. Just say at the barriers that you're there to...
not quite, as I keep saying, not quite Hogwarts, more hogweed.
Oh, you're so rude.
No,
but yeah, a
Mark,
great place.
Excellent. I look forward to coming.
I went down there a couple of weeks ago, and I hope I didn't bore you all. I was very conscious at the end. I thought, I've just talked for like 2 hours straight. I hope I was interesting. But yeah, hopefully we'll be doing a live stream from there in the upcoming near future. They're just sorting out an internet connection so we're able to do that. But yeah, it will be absolutely great to come down. We'll do the Jenny Monday Club from there,
and that's where our layout's going to end up.
Yes. Oh, and incidentally, that's ultimately when they get when the room that they're getting upstairs is finally finished and available. Then that's going to provide a home for our heat layout. So you'll be able to see that more. And also when we do the Jenny Monday Club from there, hopefully it'll give people an opportunity to come on down and maybe we'll get a party feel go. We need those little cocktail sausages on sticks. and I don't want to say jelly and ice cream because I despise jelly. I hate jelly. So a texture thing. But yeah, no, it's grand. Thank you very much for having me down there.
Thank you very much for coming to the gallery and getting me to know about you and to encourage me to come and see. Because I'm a bit of a loner. A little hobbit in my own little world and everything.
We have to tease him out of his shell a bit like trying to eat a winkle. It's like, come on. What's that? Oh, a very 70s party. No, it was a cocktail stick. You'd have the little cocktail sausage, a cube of cheese,
a little piece of
and a little silver pickled on. The little tiny one. What are they
pineapple. Called? Oh, not a gherkin. Silver skin.
Yeah, the miniature pickled things. Pineapple. Yes, gosh. Yeah, cheese and pineapple on a stick.
Yes.
A little something for the weird vegetarian of the group. But so Ben Davis, I'm having fun with railway light signal on my model railway. Actually, colour light signals, I've found great fun adding them to my layout. I've currently got 2 working and 3 further to make work up on Ware Yard. And actually, I'm so pleased with the Burko one that I got that I'm planning on getting some more next time I see Alex Croft. Let's have a look. Oh yeah, the cheese and cocktail stick, ballast man, and the salt and vinegar chipsticks. Oh,
the little blue bags.
The Smith's Crisps blue bags. Yeah, I remember that. Well, before they used to be made from foil and they were like that clear plastic, and you used to get a window and you could see the crisps through the bag. Do you remember? Oh, memories. J. Paul Anderson. I quite like the fact that a wealthy gentleman like Sir William were using so much time, money and energy on collecting and preserving pieces of railway heritage. Beats spending millions on yachts.
Definitely does,
yes. And a lot of the stuff that was there was stuff that he kind of saved. And I'm guessing that they were from jobs that McAlpine Construction were doing. And all this stuff would have gone to landfill otherwise, just been destroyed. And he just thought, just box that up, ship it back to the estate. We can use that. So there's the railway station is a real railway station.
And the signal box.
The signal box, a real signal box.
Bits of Ludgate Hill and
Blackfriars Bridge.
That's right, yeah.
There's all sorts of stuff there. And as you go further down the line, there's a lot of other stuff. But also the insulators from Battersea Power Station.
And it seems weird seeing those stuck in the ground. And then you've got llamas wandering around.
Oh, the drama llamas. It was the alpacas. And the ballast man. Did you hear the alpacas having a very challenging romp in the bushes? You'd hear this noise and it sounded like somebody getting stabbed in the bushes. Like, oh no! And like, what the hell's that? Is somebody in trouble? And the people who were working, no, they're just shagging.
Yeah.
So what else have we got? SB, did anyone get injured? Yes, but now careful now.
I won't say a word.
You have to watch the series.
Yeah.
I can't spill any beans. Just that there is some drama with some serious injuries.
Not me.
No, not you.
No, that's all right then.
Not you.
I can tell them it's not me that gets
not
injured.
Not you. And then there's like punch-ups, there was bar fights, there was people being chucked through windows.
Sugar glass window breakages.
Yeah. Well, I don't know, we thought it was sugar glass, but apparently it wasn't when he bounced off it the first time. Fly Mode Chairman 1. I reckon Sir William mourned the industrial decay that his forefathers and millions of cheap labourers built. I think you're absolutely right, and it's probably one of the reasons why he felt compelled to save what he did. And it's an eclectic collection, and the topography of the grounds is actually very unsuited to having a railway, but it does work.
It's the angle and the steepness of that.
Well, it's the steepest adhesion worked incline in the UK, and I'd wager that it's actually steeper than pretty much most other places around the world. In fact, I was watching a video on the steepest adhesion worked gradient in the USA, and that was at 5.1%. And I need to work that out. Can anybody there who can be bothered work out how does 1 in 13 compare to a 5.1% grade? Which is steeper? I can't work it out in my head because I had too much to drink, but I'm just curious. SB, did you meet the YouTuber Paul Lawrence? Possibly. We met lots of people, but I don't think it was necessary. I think I did get recognised by quite a few people, and I don't want to sound big-headed, but I follow maybe about 30 or 40 different YouTube channels, so I don't tend to go hunting for videos. So even like huge YouTubers, it's like, ooh. So I probably did meet them, but not necessarily realised that they were a YouTuber at the time. Richard Hall, is that the Saluda grade in the US, now disused by Norfolk Southern? Yeah, disused since 2001. Canadian Rail Fan, 1 in 15. Thank you for that. So actually, that's actually really steep, but not quite as steep as the gradient at Fawley Hill, which apparently is very challenging to drive up. And when they first got the Class 3 shunter, they made the mistake, it might not even have been the Class 3 shunter, it might have been the steam loco. They ran it down the 1 in 13, lost control, hit the bottom doing about 35 miles an hour and shifted the track, and were damn lucky that they didn't roll the locomotive off the track. Apparently the track moved 18 inches sideways on the curve. What's that? SB, bye, my cat now has no tail. Oh, that's, what is it, one of those fancy, like Dr. Evil cats or something? Mark Croucher, supping tea, LOL, laugh out loud. Or is it, when I was young, LOL used to mean lots of love.
Yes, that's how I still count it as. But
yeah, the little voice in my head does have a snigger every time I read it. But I'm old school.
Yes.
I grew up before the
if
internet.
you're old school, I'm ancient.
Yeah, you're ancient school. SB, no, it got broken. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. J. Paul Anderson, Mr. Bigglesworth. No, it says no, Mr. Bigglesworth. Dr. Evil does not like to be pee-peed on. So, but yeah, like, shut up, Les.
I know. I never said a word.
I know. I could feel you wanting to say.
No,
Mark
no.
Will. Oh, that. I'm sure that's a Les Dawson memorial joke. How does he smell? Brockwell Lane, Cromford and High Peak Railway was 1 in 14. Yeah, they did say that at the time, that it was steeper even than that. But yeah, it's a very challenging gradient, and I can imagine the Saluka, it's gone off the top now, Saduka, in which is near a place called Zirconia. And I did wonder when I was looking that up, ironically earlier on today on Google Earth, whether
where the stones come.
Well, zirconium is an element, and it did make me wonder, is the town named after the element? Maybe there's a zirconium mine there? Or is zirconium named after the town because that's where it was first discovered? I did wonder. I'll have to look up. Wikipedia will know. Reyes Ali, anyone here ever complete locomotion on the Amstrad CPC? That's all I know about trains. Oh, now interesting. There is an Amstrad CPC just down here. I'm not going to lift it out, it's buried well in. But if you go over to Game Hammer Classic Gaming, then that is Zoe's channel, and she is a big CPC nut doing a live coding on the CPC using original hardware every Sunday night. Mr. Muffin Trains. Muffins! Hello again, I'm here again. Welcome back. It's really good to have you back. It's always great to have repeat visitors to the Jenny Monday Club. So yeah, Ham Shackleton, I thought zirconium was a man-made gemstone. No, it's cubic zirconium, I believe, is a mineral. It looks like a bit like diamond, but it's not. But zirconium, I believe, is an element.
Mark's asking, will there be a biggest railway to? I doubt it very much.
Philip Page says, Mark Wilson, yes, on Ben Nevis. That is unofficial. Right. That's been that's been organised for charity by
Martin,
Scottish Martin,
Yes.
who's AKA Martin Hughes. If you're thinking Scottish Martin, there's quite a few.
Because we had a few Martins in the
Yeah, so
programme,
he got nicknamed Scottish Martin because he was very, very Scottish. He was actually a local lad from Inverness, but he's got a garage full of the track from Biggest Little Railway, so he's doing one for charity to raise money. J. Paul Anderson, Jenny and Les, what are your opinion on LMS versus LNER loco designs? I'll be honest with you, each had their uses. They were designed and built for the tasks of the railways that they ran on, so they were effectively just suited for the work that they needed to do. I like both, to be honest with you. Mr. Muffin Trains, have I missed much? Not really, no. We keep going off track. And
we
then
missed the dog nose joke.
Yeah,
I missed that as well.
Yeah, his dog lost its nose, and somebody said, how does he smell?
Awful.
Yeah. Devens GWR, welcome back. Anyway, we'd better talk a bit more about GMRC, actually. Great Model Railway Challenge, coming to Channel 5 from
Oh,
Matchmakers. It's a match made in heaven. Me and a box of matchmakers. Are you going to come in and... no, I'm going to get really drunk if I drink any more.
I'm fine with my coffee. Thank you very much, Zoe.
Oh, no. This is what happens when you shop cheap. Heron Foods, it's like, oh, I'll try that. It's like Lamborghini. Thank you very much. Do you want to take some of these with you?
She's probably got a box of her own, haven't you, Zoe?
No, because I bought these earlier on, there's an Amstrad CPC fan in the room.
Did Hornby or Pico sponsor the track? Well, they both did, didn't they? Hornby.
Pico was a big sponsor.
And Hornby was
also a sponsor. But there were actually provisions in... There, I'll take a handful. There were provisions in the rules where certain products had to come from certain companies. Yes. So, for example, we were supposed to only use Pico track, even though Bachmann and Hornby had their own tracks on the market. Although nobody checked up on that. So there were teams using the Hornby track, the set track that came in various sets. If you got like a set that had track in, why waste it?
Yeah. Does GMRC have more on building the layout?
It does, yes. It's one of the feedback they took it on board from last year was that people wanted to see more about like how to build things. So certainly during our heat, they filmed a number of almost like how-to guides. Like how are you building that?
How are you making this?
A lot more interviews with people talking about.
Well, the program itself is going to be a full hour. So there's a lot more in-depth detailing that's going to go on. Can't say any more. So yes, there will be more on building the layout. When we were building the layouts on GMRC, was it preset themes, or did you come up with your own, or had that to be top secret too?
There was a theme for the episode, and then you had to pick your theme for your layout that tied into that overarching theme. So, for example, in Heat 1, it's already been announced, Restless Earth was their theme. So, you're looking at teams thinking about what theme for our layout can we build to tie in with Restless Earth. And in the trailer, you obviously see somebody's volcano explode.
Oh, very good.
I'm interested in seeing that. We never got to meet that team, so I'm very interested to see some of these layouts that we never saw getting built.
Because we only saw the ones that were in our heat, so we don't know what came before us or came after us.
Canadian Rail fan Jenny, how much jab light did you use? I think we went through about 100 quid's worth.
It is nice to work with, but it does have its limitations as well.
It does. I've used it a lot up on the loft layout as well. Brockwell Lane, have the presenters got a new joke book? No.
But we don't know yet whether they've shot the piano player.
Hey, what do you mean?
Well, in the first series, there's always that piano playing that's going on between the links and everything.
I probably can say the music producer who I work with a lot, and my other career is as a writer. So I work with a guy called Bruno Greif. You can find him on YouTube, actually. But he's famous for the Israeli pop group Terry Poison. And I work a lot with him. writing various things. But he did some of the music for GMRC2. So I'm interested, I think he's probably interested to see as well, how much of his music actually gets used. Because when I spoke to Pat Doyle about the music and about getting Bruno on board, he did say that they use sort of stock plinkety-plink piano music. But I don't think he didn't sound enamoured by it anyway. I think it was just what the budget would run to. But hopefully my friend Bruno has done a load of music for it, which will be really nice to hear. But certainly, oh, that's in tight. Certainly, it's not just plinkety-plink piano music, but they may still have that rubbish. I did hear it on Series 1 and it is a bit naff.
Yeah. But the jokes are just as bad.
Yeah, and they spent all their time. Did you notice they were trying to get some kind of an innuendo into everything?
Yeah.
And the thing was, it's quite funny when you see it filmed behind the scenes. You see the thought process, and you see James and Tim huddled together, trying to come up with these sort of rude double entendres that they can then trot out. And I went and had a chat with James over something. And he sat in the station building on his laptop writing scripts and stuff.
What is it says here, Philip Page? What is Tim like really? Well, actually, everybody is much nicer than necessarily they come across sometimes on screen.
Yeah, it's like Hadrian Spooner on Biggest Little Railway. He came across as being really horrible in the TV programme. And I was very surprised because he was not like that in real life.
I mean, it's like everything else. Some people.
Oh, that is nasty.
Is that why I was giving you?
Just, I'll pour you a little bit. Just
is it because of the chocolate? I got on fine with him, as I did with James. So I didn't particularly like either of them when I watched the series myself the first time. I thought the jokes and the innuendos, they were sort of.
It was like they were being smug and like
taking the Michael out of it.
Making fun, yeah.
You know, in situ, it doesn't come across like that. Whereas it will still when they
and they're
show
genuinely interested.
They
in
are,
what
yes,
you're doing.
yeah.
If anything, and actually, the person I was most pleasantly surprised about was Steve Flint. Now, Steve Flint has been the editor of Railway Modeler for a very, very long time, and I've had dealings with Steve Flint over email. Never met him in person, but whenever I've pitched articles to him, he's always come across. He wasn't like this in person, but he's always knocked my stuff back and poo-pooed it. Said, "Oh no, we're not interested in that," or. We will. When I did the article on Biggest Little Railway, poo-pooed it, and so I went in with this preconception that he was going to be a bit snooty. But actually, I got on incredibly well with Steve Flint, and
I did with Kathy as well.
See, Kathy, I didn't speak to her an awful lot. She always seemed a bit cold and distant whenever I was around her. But maybe that's just my perception. I did have chats with her and she seemed perfectly nice, but a little bit distant, whereas Steve Flint, we could chat and chat at great length about things, and it turns out he grew up like 3 doors down from my father in Cottingham in Hull,
right.
Which is like amazing. It's like there was like commonality of people that were friends of my family were also friends of his family, and it's like, wow, why have we never met before? So we got on like a house on fire, and he was completely different from how I expected him to be. Canadian Rail fan. Steve Flint was really nice behind the scenes. Steve Flint was he was great, absolutely great. And did you write that article?
He hasn't asked me yet. He said he would after the series had been aired, I think.
All right, because I it's funny actually. When I pitched an article to him in person, he was very interested. So I think once he gets to know you, he's really, really good, and it was great fun. And they poked fun at him a little bit, Tim and James. And
there was this banter between them, which is good. It's a bit like Ant and Dec and the X Factor people and the Britain's Got Talent. There's got to be this sort of rapport going on. And
when the time comes, I've got some behind the scenes footage where they were for the Scratch Building Challenge, and they were saying about we've been digging around in Steve's spare bedroom
Oh,
sort of thing for these weird outlandish items. I'm not going to tell you what they were because it'll spoil the fun. But I was filming from behind the cameras, and Steve Flint was actually stood behind the cameras next to me. So he's in shot whilst I'm filming this, and it was like pure YouTube video gold. And he's just chuckling away. So it was a good sport, and it was. Excuse me, a lot of what's said on TV is just a little bit tongue in cheek. Right, what do we got?
Mr. Muffin, it's very unfortunate. Tried to be in the Hornby Club and they say, sorry, we don't ship to New Zealand. There's always eBay.
Yeah, the Hornby Club, it sort of blows hot and cold a little bit, I've found. If you're based in the UK, as I am, sometimes it's worth joining. But for a long time, it wasn't worth being a member of the club because there was no advantage to it. But I did join and got the 2 cut price terriers, which I think I paid 25 quid each or something for them. They were really cut price. So at the moment there's the H class, which is well worth getting. But they're a bit picky about where they ship to, whereas the Bachman Collectors Club aren't.
Yeah. James Mayer's possible future presenter.
I think they're perfectly happy with the presenters. Tim and James work really well. Yeah. And I know that Simon A.C. Martin has been involved in further filming on a different TV programme with Tim. And if you know what Tim normally does, you know exactly that it's Car SOS. And so there's no hint that he's unhappy with that. And as far as I'm aware, they'll continue with the same presenters. Yeah. There's no reason to change them. But yeah, Canadian Rail fan. I found Kathy quite distant. She did not talk really. Very nice, but a bit distant. That is exactly how I found her. Almost, I don't know whether maybe she's shy around new people.
Well, I won't disagree with you, but I got on fine with her when I was chatting to her. But then a lot of the times we were away from sort of the group of everything. She'd catch me outside and we'd be chatting about something. So.
Yeah, Canadian Rail fan. Steve Flint was really nice behind the scenes. It definitely was. But Kathy, very distant. Not in a mean way, just was very distant. Get yourself some of these. I'm like stuffing them in my face.
I'm conscious if my wife watches this, she'll say, "You've been eating chocolate biscuits." No.
No, you've just been eating pure chocolate. Pure fuel. But, what else can we talk about? Were you there? Did you go on the ride on the train?
I went on one of the rides. I don't know. I was with it, and Simon.
Was James there as well?
Yes, I was with James in the cabin.
Oh, I was on the same trip as you.
Oh, that's right, because you got to go in the cabin as well. Yeah.
So that was pretty good because we were quite lucky. Because in our heat, we had this plan and everybody was on the same page with it in the team. Yeah. So when we were building it, that took a lot of the pressure off. So we larked around a lot and got to ride on the train and just hang out with people and chat and shoot the breeze, which was actually quite a nice experience. But yeah, it was, and so we got to hang out with the presenters.
And we had good weather while we were there.
Yeah, very good weather. Very good weather. Yeah, Don Cragen, the Mount Washington Cog Railway. An average grade of over 25%, 1 in 4. Yeah, but it's not. It's about adhesion work, because Snowdon Mountain Railway is far steeper than the 1 in 13 at Fawley Hill. But Fawley Hill is an ordinary adhesion. Effectively, there's no additional aids to basically allow it to stick to the track. Brockwell Lane. Were Kathy and Steve there watching the builds all the time? No. They sort of like wandered through from time to time when things were filming. Yeah. But then they were also filming a lot of stuff that you'll see where they sort of sit round a table discussing stuff. They were off filming that. And actually, funny story for you, they were filming that at one point, and I went to get some a can of Coke from the little kitchen area that's just beyond there. And I walked out onto the platform, looked to my left through the window, and there's like I'm looking straight down the barrel of a TV camera and then filming a thing and the director going, So I then had to drop down and shimmy back on the tracks, like on all fours, so I wouldn't then spoil the shot on the way back. And of course, they were filming the little insert bits that you get to see.
I think we all fell foul occasionally, moving around in the big room from one railway into the art room or something, and accidentally coming into shot of the film crew filming something for somebody else. So there were a few not difficult moments as such, but
the trick was not to blunder straight through the middle of them. And
like I did.
but I've had a lot of experience of knocking around on TV and film sets, and one of the things they say for you to do is don't draw attention to yourself. Just wander through like you're just a passerby. And it's amazing, actually, when you watch films and stuff. Some of the people you just think is part of the crowd scene are actually the crew wandering about. So you probably see me in the background in a lot of shots, and you just ignore the cameras. That's the trick. At all times, you just pretend like the cameras are not there. Mr. Muffin Train. So I have a question. How is the Airfix Prairie? Well, unfortunately, the Airfix Prairie was one of the few items which I never got back after the burglary, unfortunately. So I still have the coaches, but the actual 262 Prairie and GWR Green, I never got it back. I don't know where it is now. It was stolen. I never got it back. So unfortunately, that was the fate for the Airfix Prairie. Canadian Rail Fan, the presenters were really nice. I thought they were naff in season 1, but they know their stuff. Yeah, I think they really kind of came together in series 2, and I think
it was a learning curve, wasn't it, season 1?
Definitely, and I think the production as well, everybody involved in the production, they took on board that experience of series 1. So I think series 2, everything just hooked up. But that's often the case. If you watch series 1 of Robot Wars, it's a bit naff. If you watch series 1 of Time Team, it's a bit naff as well. So that's just the way it goes. Canadian Rail Fan, was Art Room nice, and was team like Foley Flyers? What tended to happen was there'd be a couple of people from each team in the art room. I didn't get to spend much time there, but that's where Melanie spent a lot of time, and Simon as well.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing the people who were in the art room built up this kind of dynamic between them as well. Which is probably nice. What did you make of this? I thought it tasted.
I preferred the coffee.
It's nasty, isn't it?
It's not as nice as what we had to begin with, but I preferred the coffee. But the chocolate might have.
It seems rude to waste it, but it's nasty stuff.
But I mean, the whole. You can't probably tell from the television show, but it's just one huge long garage with about 6 lots of doors that lead out that could be opened up.
Yeah.
It did get very hot in there as well, didn't it?
Oh God, yeah.
Dripping.
Well, we got surprisingly good weather, very hot weather. It's been quite a hot summer, and it was great for the filming outside, but not so great inside. It really was like a sauna, and I think at one point I got heat stroke because of that in there, and there was a lot of people having a lot of trouble. Not just the people building layouts, but also the film crews as well were struggling. And that tended to, you probably some of the frayed tempers that happened were probably exacerbated by the heat. But the trouble is, it's basically like a tin building, and it's got it's got a flat roof with a tarred flat roof, so it's black, so it generates huge amounts of heat in the sun. And they have all of these roller shutter doors down. They've got all the TV lights in there as well. Yeah. And then you've got to remember that there's like 3 teams, so that's 3 lots of 6 people. That's 18 people, plus probably about the same again for the film crew. And that's a lot of people all generating heat. And then there's people using heat guns, hot glue guns, soldering irons. There's a lot of stuff going on, and the air just doesn't move. So that was another reason, actually, why during the heat we spent a lot of time wandering in and out. Is really just getting out to get some air and cool down. Are you being too polite?
You can have the last one.
Whoa. Are you sure?
I'm sure, yeah.
I'll break it in half.
All right, we'll go halves.
There you go. All right. Don't say I never give you one. Berry 120. Did any of the stock suffer because of the heat? I lost a model to that once. It practically melted. We didn't get quite that hot. I mean, that is extreme heat to melt a model. But certainly one of the issues that it didn't affect our team, but I know some of the other teams had, was the heat caused the track to expand, and then they had some issues with slight buckling or things like that. So I got a hanging nail. I hate them when you get a little bit.
Teams get on well and got in shots.
I got in shots season 1, 2, part of cruise season 1 and teams. Not sure what you're trying to say there. It's come out a little bit garbled. Flymo Chairman Wood, Robot Wars kind of needs Craig Charles to give it some credibility and decent drama, I reckon, anyway. Yeah, you get that with some TV series, that if a presenter decides to leave, then it's kind of the death knell. I know at Scrap Heap Challenge, Robert Llewellyn left for the before the final series. They got Dick Strawbridge in as the judge. And Dick Strawbridge was good, but it wasn't the same. It didn't have the magic. And, I think it suffered. So I think presenters can be make or break. Actually, yeah, Richard, I think it was Series 1 that Canadian Railfan was in. I am actually interested. Which team were you in? And one of the things that they had for Series 2 is that they wanted all new faces. Yeah. So that's why you won't see the
Aberdeen defending the title.
Forley Flyers, any of that lot. I believe at one stage they were on the cards to return, but Channel 5 wanted all new faces. And I think that actually worked really, really well. Whether they'll do that again for Series 3, I don't know. I mean, I've been
approached and I've kind of said, yes, I'm interested, but because
he hasn't approached me. I feel a bit put out that he didn't at least ask. Why has he not asked me?
I don't know. I've got commitments next year, which I don't know what's going to be happening in terms of anything for myself. So I can't commit 100%. But because it's always been about bringing in new faces, I've said, I will be on like the reserve bench. So if you are struggling and I'm in a position to be able to step in, then yes. But
I've talked to him about the team in question. I know which team it is. I've talked to him about it. I gave him some tips from experience. He's never asked me. I don't know. Is he? Do I smell?
Well, I'm not going to mention names, but I've been in quite a bit of communication with our friend during the making of the TV series and afterwards with other things that are going on with him and with myself. So maybe that's the reason. And we've always been sort of kind of pally, even though he was in a different team in the Great Model Railway.
Biggest Little Railway. He was in my team. That's how I know him.
So we'll have to wait and see. I will be available if the chance comes and he needs me. But it might be that the TV company will say, well, no, it's all got to be new faces, which is probably fairest anyway.
Well, they had over 600 people apply this year.
They'll probably be the same, if not more, next time.
I reckon they'll have more. I think it's getting more and more high profile. Yes. And a bit, again, I use it as an example, Robot Wars. They probably struggled in the first series to get enough competitors in of the right calibre. But after that, it just gets better and better. And funnily enough, Tim as well said about Car SOS. He said at the start they had people who went out and trolled around trying to find these great projects to film, and it was really hard. But he said now, they're in their 10th season or something. He said, it's actually quite easy because so many people want to be involved. Mr. Muffin Trains, well, I'm off. Have to get ready for school. See you next Monday. Well, see you too. Take care. It's been great having you in. And Stalax Junction, morning from New Zealand. Well, good morning to you. Yeah, it's always nice to have people in from so many different places. I always feel quite honoured that so many people around the world want to listen to me talk. Mr. Muffin Trains, are you a Kiwi as well? Excellent. Well, it's we get a lot of people from Australia as well. I don't know what kind. See, from the UK we have a different perspective, but is there much of a rivalry between New Zealand and Australia?
Oh yes.
I mean, what is it like? Is it a bit like how there's rivalry between the French and the British, or is it?
I've got cousins that live in Australia and Tasmania, and yeah, I know there is certain rivalry. I think as well, it's just like the rivalry between Australia and Britain, us Pommies and the Aussies. You know, we love each other. And we hate each other, but
it's a bit like younger and older brothers sort of thing. Yeah. They're like, love them to bits, but can't
except when they
stand
beat us at cricket.
Yeah.
And they didn't cheat this time either.
Hey, again, I think we've touched a raw nerve there, Mr. Muffin Trains. But no, we always wonder, because from all this distance away, we're never quite sure. But I do have, I've got a lot of relatives actually in, what's the name of the place? Warrigal, which is near Melbourne. I can't remember. Is that New South Wales or is that Queensland?
Quite a bit of my extended family are out in Australia. I have a sister-in-law, ex-sister-in-law, who had a catering company for a film.
See you later, Mr. Muffin Trains.
Yeah, take care.
Yeah, have a great day today.
One of the problems that the film companies in Australia had was that New Zealand, because of the tax incentives that they offered to artisans for films, things like Lord of the Rings and all these big blockbusters got to be filmed in New Zealand.
Yeah, but it's got epic scenery.
I know, but they'd been planned originally for Australia, and as a result of things like that, my ex-sister-in-law's business went bust. Ooh. Because there was these great big Pantechnicon vans catering for the film companies that suddenly there was no film industry for them. So there is rivalry in many aspects. Then again,
see, a lot of the UK film studios are lost out to places like Ireland initially, but now actually places like Romania and Hungary have tax regimes that encourage a lot of films to be filmed there. But hey, anyway, GMRC, we have to keep steering us back onto topic.
Yes.
What else can we talk about? Well, I think it's going to be epic. Like I said, saw no evidence that any teams didn't complete the build. There is genuine panic that will probably come across throughout the series of teams rushing to finish. And in a lot of instances, believe me, it's not made up in the editing or like, would you just make it look like you're doing this for TV?
There were.
You really were building down to the last few minutes, but I think a lot of teams were. Was it? I was on season 1 of GMRT and season 2 of Crew because Oh right, so do you remember us? Intriguing. Yeah, I mean, I used to do a lot of Crew stuff through. The name's just gone out of my head. Had a parrot on the side of the vehicle. PKE Lighting. I used to work as a driver for them. And that's how I got on a lot of film sets and TV sets. But yeah, working Crew is not as much fun as maybe people make out. It did get me backstage where they were filming one of the Star Wars films.
Oh, wow.
But they really do ratchet down on security to the point where basically it's like, you take a photograph, you will be fired and sued, and we will sue you so much you won't be able to afford to breathe. So I have very little in the way of photographs from my time working for PKE Lighting, but I did get to go on set for Star Wars, Force Awakens. I also went on set for...
You were the Jedi that bumped his head, weren't you?
I would have loved to have been third Stormtrooper from the back, but no, it didn't work out like that. I never saw any of the cast. The closest I ever got to seeing anybody famous was when I worked on set for I think it was a Netflix production, The Collection, which had, was it Meryl Streep's daughter in, something like that. Didn't see her, but I saw her trailer. And it was a very curious hierarchy on Hollywood films. I say Hollywood films, they're being filmed in the UK, but on these big blockbuster films, when you go for your lunch, they have a set of tables for extras that don't speak, and they will sit all by themselves. And then you have another bunch of tables for extras with a speaking line, and they think they're so bloody special, and they're like, oh no, we won't sit with them. They're scum. And then you have another set of tables for the actual proper, the proper actors and actresses who actually have parts in the film, like named parts. They could say, actually, my part, I'm called Bob, and I keep appearing all through this and going, it's only a model. And they have this weird hierarchy, and then the really big Hollywood stars just get a lackey to go and get them something to eat and bring it back to their trailer. But it's a peculiar world.
That'll be us soon, won't it?
Fly My Chairman. There's a lot of hanging around at these gigs. Yeah, we got that. It's like they're not finished filming. I did Wolf Hall at Berkeley Castle, and we turned up in a hire car, and they were still filming. And it's like, we're here for that Jenny rig. It's like, we're still using it. It's still plugged in. It's still running. It's like, oh, okay. So
somebody that used to have our shirts in the 80s, the Rail Riders T-shirt.
Yeah.
Well
it was actually Brian that picked that name.
Yeah.
I think we probably argued about the name of the team more than we did about the theme for the layout. But yeah, these T-shirts got a lot of mileage. Oh, one other tip as well. We didn't just have one T-shirt.
No, I was just about to say that.
You will see us throughout the series. We will always seem to be in the same T-shirt. We had multiple.
We had 3. But we could have done with 3 every day, couldn't we?
Because it got so hot. But essentially, we had a clean T-shirt every single day, and
we changed our underwear as well, by the way. So
I hope you did. I did. I took a lot of underwear, a lot of socks, a lot of jeans as well. I had a clean pair of jeans for every day as well, because you do get very hot and sweaty. But yeah, it was a really great experience. Yeah, a Canadian Rail fan. I took a lot of pictures of doing filming and wiring. There's a lot of people sort of like trapped underneath baseboards doing wiring. It's probably one of the most thankless jobs of any model railway build. But that job fell between myself and Melanie Lewis. Brockwell Lane, who paid for the polo shirts? We did.
Yes, we did.
Essentially, the only brief from the film company was make sure that you were wearing what looks to be the same thing each day, and they recommended basically having 3 lots of the same clothes.
It was for continuity more than anything as well, wasn't it, from the TV's point of view?
But there was no requirement to have team shirts.
No.
We didn't all have to look the same.
But most teams did end up having their own.
Yeah, all the teams that I remember had their own shirts. It seemed to be a common thing. I think in the first series, a lot of teams had team shirts as well. So that's probably one of the things that people have seen from the first series and thought that's
bit like
actually
having
really
a school
good.
Uniform, isn't it?
I don't know. I thought school uniform's supposed to make you look like Britney Spears in some kind of pop video. This isn't a school uniform. This looks like we work at some sort of
fast food franchise.
Yeah.
we just need the hat.
Welcome to Rail Riders Burger. How would you like your burger? Quick, gob on a burger. Would you like fries with that?
Good night from Austria. Good night, Vienna.
Blackwood N-gauge layout. It's always good to have you aboard for the live stream. Good night to you. Canadian Rail fan, I remember you. I did look at the layout and I spoke to Simon. Grand. So what were you doing on the production team, may I ask? I'm just wondering, what role did you play? Cause
you didn't nick all the spanners and the screwdrivers, did you?
Yeah, we had somebody kept moving all of our screwdrivers about. Well, they just disappeared. We had loads of tools go missing. It was really annoying. But so you remember the King of Hip? One of the sound guys. I kept joking with him that he was the King of Hip. He was my connection to the party line because he had this thing where he'd button his. I'm very disparaging. People who button up a shirt or a polo neck right to the top but don't have a tie. It's like oh, you hipster. So I nicknamed him the King of Hip, and we had quite a rapport actually. He ended up. I gave him some of my books at the end because it turned out he liked sci-fi as well. So I haven't kept in touch. I don't actually know what his real name is, but yeah.
Is that supposed to be DCC or because do? What's your opinion of do?
What's your opinion of do? C was... No, the C and the O are way, way up. I don't know what do is.
You would, yeah. What do you mean by opinion of do?
What's your opinion of do?
We're doomed, Mr. Mannering.
Do or do not. There is only succeed. Gout Valley. I was in Rail Riders in the early 80s. They organised a tour of St Philip's Marsh, complete walkthrough in HST set cab to cab, and the return leg was in the pit under the...
Oh, right.
A bit like the Docklands Light Railway. Also, the Tyne and Wear Metro as well. Is it? No, actually, no. The Tyne and Wear Metro does have drivers in.
Okay, Canadian Rail fan, you didn't nick our tools. We'll let you off.
I was filming and wiring cameras and lights. I did not think you. Great. It's great to have people. You're not being sent from the TV company to make sure that we don't breach our NDA. Do you? Making notes, right? Well, they've talked about this, but they haven't mentioned this. That's good. Yeah. We're going to send a lawyer to crawl up their ass. Frog in my throat. But yeah, no, it was great fun. It was great working with you. Actually, it's actually nice to be speaking with you again. You know, because there was kind of a really nice kind of camaraderie, not just between the teams, but also with the film crews.
Yeah.
I mean, there were people who fell out with the film crew and shouted at them, but you'll have to watch the series to find out.
What's the best sandwich? One that's curled up at the corners, a typical
no. The best sandwich is, of course, tuna mayonnaise with no cucumber in it. Cucumber is Satan's bottom. You may have tiny diced pieces of celery or peppers in there, but nothing else. But that is the perfect sandwich filling. Or a cheeseburger. Technically, that's a sandwich. Let's have a look. Canadian Rail fan. You never know. So maybe you're just Daniela in disguise or Pat Doyle. No, quick. We've been rumbled. The cheese shop has valet parking. I repeat, the cheese shop has valet parking.
1980 to be our cheese sandwich.
I remember it must have only been about 1982, 83. My mother bought me a beef burger and a barm cake from the buffet car on the express from Bolton down to London, and all I can remember was my
mother stamping and shouting no.
Oh, we weren't.
Did you need something?
No, I'm sorry.
No.
You have to be able to learn to discern from the difference
between that stamp and just moving our feet.
This means come on up, we need something. But this just means
it's just
I'm drunk, basically. Flymo Chairman, one right with you. Cucumber. What is the point of cucumber? It's mostly water. It's basically dirty water in solid form. What is the point of it? Canadian Rail fan. My producer said I should apply. I would quite likely get in because I'm on crew. Yeah, I mean, certainly some of the crew did really take an interest.
Yes.
I even have been yourself. But there were people on the crew who were genuinely interested in what the teams were building, and were fascinated that we're actually able to not only build these things, but in a lot of instances, I mean, certainly my mantra, and you as well, your mantra is it's about simple but effective. And watching you work was a pleasure because you're just so quick. But it wasn't slapdash. It just kind of like, and it was there, and it's like wow. But yeah, so we should go back to we were asked about driver operated only operation. I can't say I've got an opinion on the matter. In all honesty, I don't know enough about the railways to know about that, so I wouldn't like to have to pass comment on it because
I think it's all down to safety and
I don't know enough to be able
to
have an opinion either way. Ham Shackleton, cucumber like celery, you burn more calories eating it than you get from it. Well, see, the thing about cucumber is when I eat cucumber, I actually I turn into almost like a bulimic. I just throw up because the stuff is so vile, it makes me want to chunder. Yeah, Flymo Chairman 1, yes, well said. It taints all it touches. Nothing is ever the same after cucumber has touched it. Yeah, it is dirty water in solid form. Robot Monkey, have you ever travelled by train in Italy? I've never been to Italy.
I've not done by train. I've been on ones in Holland, double-decker ones in Holland, and they were fantastic. Went to Kukenoff to see the flowers many moons ago. And also in Germany, the trains are so clean and smooth and run on time. You know, absolutely brilliant.
Was that going to Japan? Apparently, if a train's like more than 30 seconds late, the station master has to, or the driver has to, write a full report apologising for
Or
it.
commit hara-kiri or whatever it is they do. Yeah.
Hara-kiri? Whoa.
What is it when they throw themselves on the sword?
I've no idea. That's a bit dark, isn't it? Gosh.
Well, the Japanese are funny people, aren't they?
I
I think it's called hara-kiri when they have to
all I can hear is Hare Krishna.
atone for their failings.
I don't know. What's it?
Somebody might put us right anyway.
Sudoku. We'll get into
No,
trouble.
Sudoku is the numbers things, isn't it?
Ewood Railway. Have you ever spent hours ballasting a layout? Hate that job so much. I know. I think. I know. I like ballasting railways. I find it very relaxing. And I've ballasted a lot of model railways, including the GMRC layout. I did all the ballasting. And I just find it almost soothing. I know it's not everybody's cup of tea.
It's like my wife, she loves weeding.
Oh, I hate doing that. Can you lend it to me? Because I hate pulling out weeds. It's just, Yeah, I like the end result, don't get me wrong. But ballasting I actually find quite therapeutic. You've seen how big Weir Yard is upstairs. Yes. And yeah, I just quite liked it. Robot Monkey also highly recommend Budapest. They have an awesome model railway open to the public. So a bit like a miniature Wunderland. But no, more about... hold on. Canadian rail fan back in a mo. Right, come on, let's spill the beans. Sorry, I didn't mean to stop you. Let's spill the beans whilst he's not making notes to feed back to Pat Doyle and Daniela. What was his surname? Daniela? Byrne, B-Y-R-E?
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. And there was Maddie and Bria.
I mainly knew them by the first names, but yeah, I think it's Brian.
It takes me a long time to learn people's names, so it was weird actually. When I first met her, I'd talked to her on Skype a huge amount over the previous year. I'd never met her in person. She was like small.
Yes.
But you know, when you see somebody on Skype, you just like.
Well, they're all the same size, aren't they?
Exactly. Yeah. And then I met her, and it was like the person you'd been talking to on Skype, only 1/3 actual size. Don't tell her that, Canadian rail fan. Welcome back. Berry 120. Ballasting is one of those oddly therapeutic jobs. Then again, I generally find doing wiring similarly satisfying, which puts me at odds with most of the modellers. And I know what you mean. Wiring, I wouldn't say is my favourite, but I can kind of knuckle down and get it done. I find if you have music or a film going in the background, that helps a lot. But ballasting, just take on a manageable area. Don't try and be a hero and get everything done in one big go. No. But just take manageable sections, and I just find it quite therapeutic, brushing it into place with the little brush. And I've got a couple of good videos actually. A good plug for the YouTube channel. There's a couple of some of my most popular videos are things like how to ballast model railway track, and there's a few really good tips. I've got 2 videos: how to ballast model railway track, which gives you the basics, but then also how to speed lay ballast like a pro. And that gives you some top tips in there. There's a tool by Prozis on the market, which does make things a lot easier. So certainly, well worth taking a look.
He knows a bit about season 3, but he's keeping tight-lipped.
Interesting Canadian rail fan. Where are you based, Canadian rail fan?
Canada.
You're in Canada. Can you message us? I'm really quite keen to find out. Well, to be honest, actually, I know a bit about Series 3 as well, so... Because I've been chatting with Pat Doyle a lot, which is... I'm not one to name drop. I am. But yeah, me and Pat Doyle, we've been telephoning each other about various things because I'm actually doing some other stuff, hopefully to do some different TV series with Pat Doyle if all goes well.
I'm going to have to break off myself.
Oh, do you have to go?
I told my good lady I would be home by 9:30 if possible.
Ah, right. Right, but Berry 120, wasn't sure if it had been commissioned. Well, I spoke with Channel 5's head of commissioning. Pat Doyle did introduce me to him, and it would appear that he's very, very keen. So I could have been being BS, but there we go. But you have to go.
I have to go.
So I think
Thank
it's
you very
probably
much for inviting me on.
I'm going to have to call it a night, but certainly we've talked a little bit more about GMRC, and over the coming few weeks
You'll have a lot more.
there's going to be a lot more talk about it. It has to be said.
Well, hopefully.
It's top. Some people are like, oh, I'm getting bored. Can you talk about something else? But it's hot topic. It starts this Friday on Channel 5 in the UK at 8 p.m. Which, as some people have pointed out, if you like get on the Naughty Network, you can find ways of watching that, even if you're not in the UK. Basically spoof your IP. That's what I used to do. But certainly, good night to you all. See you next
everybody.
week.
Also, hope I can come back again.
Don't forget as well, spread the word. 22nd of September, 12 midday at Bury Bolton Street Station. It'll be the Jenny Monday Club Big Sunday meetup. I hope to see as many of you as we can. And hopefully we can try and organise it. Maybe we'll all go for a train ride or something. But it'll be really nice to put faces to names. But you all take really great care of yourselves. And always a Canadian Rail fan. NDA things cannot, but really looking forward to it. We've all signed NDAs, but I'm guessing anything that's in the public domain I can talk about. But there's other things they never made me sign an NDA. Silly. So I can drop hints. Or maybe I'm lying. For all you know, I'm just a big BS merchant. You'll never know. Well, actually, you will eventually. But there we go. But no, actually, I do genuinely talk to Pat Doyle a lot. Not to name drop, but I will. But hey, I'm completely drunk. I don't know what's in this. Alcohol. I do apologise. But whatever this is, it is like commotion lotion. Rock this hoose juice. But anyway, look, it's been great having you on, Les.
Thank you very much.
It's always good to have you on. No, thank you for coming.
Well, I'll come again if you'll invite me. So
I will do.
We can talk a bit more about other things and the GMRC.
Yeah, well, it was great
when things have aired.
When we had you on talking about Not Lobia as well, I think that went down really well. Just to see
we can talk a bit more about how we built whatever we build and show for our heat and anything else that happens.
But it's going to be brilliant. And next week I've got Melanie Lewis on. Mate, I'll tell her actually to bring her T-shirt.
Yes.
So we probably will talk some more.
You'll watch that one before she comes, though, won't you?
I've got 2 more in the cupboard. Definitely. Warrington Train Spotter 2778. Hope to see you both on the 22nd. Boom! There you are. I thought I'd get one boom in. Where's the camera? Boom! That'll be grand. But yeah, Melanie Lewis will be here next week. And we'll probably talk some more about GMRC because it will have already been aired. Well, episode 1. And don't forget, 20th of September. Stay glued because you can see yours truly and Les Cliff.
Yours truly, yes.
And Melanie Lewis and Brian as well.
And Simon,
don't forget Brian and Simon and Stefan.
Stefan in the first series. Yeah.
Who's Martin?
Martin.
But hey, yeah.
I'm getting my names mixed up.
Yeah.
I'm terrible with names, Jane.
Yeah, Jane. Jane Doe. I found you under a tarp out back. But anyhow, meanwhile, back at the ranch. Anyway, look, it's really great
everybody.
to have you all on. Don't forget to like and share and also check out the channel, see all the good stuff that we got going on. We've got some great videos coming up this week, including a comparison of new versus old Hornby Terriers will be the Wednesday video. And also an introduction to Top's lettering of wagons. What does it all mean? Stay tuned for all this, plus the regular Friday update video. Until then, you take really good care of yourselves. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.